Alrighty, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Today is June the 25th. Really solid textbook levels yesterday, kind of laid out here in the pre-market. We wanted to see continuation to all-time highs on the Qs. We got that. Now you can see we're actually having some more continuation here in the pre-market. Markets clearly starting to trend here on the lower time frames as well. SPY is going to be the next one for all-time highs. Plenty of nice opportunities as well here in the markets. We'll talk about some charts that we're looking for coming into today here in a second. Good morning. What's up, B Roots? Jeff, KO, Steven, Nontali. You got my name right. Glad. What's up, Robert, Monty, Martin, JT, Ryan, Josh, Daniel, Daniela, Audrey, Jen, Co. What's up, Wayne? What's up, Darth, Yoji, Ann, Carlos, K, Sean, Gear, Juan, Paul, Ilem, Eddie. Yeah, what's up, everyone? Good morning, Gabriella, teacher, Quita, Andreas, Todd, Wallace, Bangkok. What's up? Yeah, good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's go over some charts. Yesterday, really the levels that we had established was our top of the range. So we talked about this one with kind of the news that we had. If we can start breaking towards the upside, if we wanted to see continuation, I would have liked to see the hold of your 22,280. So this is the exact level I want to see the market hold for potential continuation towards your all-time highs. As you can see right here, for the NQ, right, perfect hold coming into market open of our down close candles of the top of the range, and now you can see continuation higher. The next level is higher for the NQ. So the NQ hasn't quite hit all-time highs because it's the futures contract, whereas the QQQ has hit all-time highs. The next level is on the NQ. Number one, I'm going to draw out this body, and then I'm also going to draw out the wick. And then I'm also going to mark out these all-time highs. The reason being is because we have something called the contract rollover. If I turn off the contracts, you can see that we're at all-time high. So for the NQ, right, depending if I have the contracts adjusted for the contract changes that happen once a quarter, you can see the NQ is at all-time highs, right? That's why the QQQ is at all-time highs. If you go back onto the NQ and you click adjust for contract changes, you can see it's not quite at all-time highs. Either chart works. I personally like using the chart where it's adjust for contract changes, but you can use the other chart as well. So for the NQ, key levels that you're going to have marked out now is going to be your 22,557. We also have your 22,665. So coming into today, you can see the levels we're going to have marked out, right? Similar to yesterday, still we're going to have this exact level. And now we can also mark out a couple more key levels. This level right here, 22,380. And then we can also mark out your previous day highs here as well, which is going to be your 22,460. So let's mark out these levels. Draw this. And we can drag it over, and then we can also mark out your previous day highs here as well for the NQ. So these are the levels coming into today for potential kind of dip ads on the major indices for continuation back towards your all-time highs. If we go onto the QQQ, you can see super solid hold right off our 536 yesterday. As I mentioned, this is the exact level we want to see hold on the QQQ coming into yesterday, the top of the range for potential moves up and towards your all-time highs here and above. So you can see your 536 was the line in the sand for me yesterday. As long as it maintains your 536, we can expect continuation higher. If we get back underneath 536, I would just be less bullish on the higher time frames. I would be less bullish intraday, but higher time frames, I would still be bullish. So QQQ finally hit our all-time highs, as you can see. If you zoom out just a little bit, I've been talking about all-time highs for a while now. That was going to be the level that the market was going to gravitate towards. And you can see we finally ended up having a very nice push higher. And now let's see if we can start trending here for the Qs along with the SPY as well. We can expect most dips to get bought up here on the SPY for a push towards your all-time highs as well. So for the QQQ, we can go back onto the lower time frames and mark out the key levels. Key levels in this case today is going to be your previous all-time highs, 539.50s. So your 539.50s, very key level here on the higher time frames. We can also mark out your previous day highs here as well. With the QQQ being at all-time highs, now for levels that I'm going to go off of, I'm going to look at the NQ primarily and the SPY as well. So for the Qs, I only had one level, 539.38, which was your all-time highs. Whenever you're at all-time highs, now you don't have any more levels to mark out. So you're going to have to use key psychological levels, or in this case, you can look at the NQ since we haven't quite hit all-time highs, along with the SPY as well. So these are the levels I can go off of, at least the major daily pivot points. We can expect the markets to have a strong reaction once SPY hits your all-time high. So at least for the Qs now, the only level, the major level I'm going to have marked out is going to be your 539.50s, which is your previous all-time highs here on the Qs. So as long as we maintain above this level, we can expect continuation towards the upside here coming into today and potentially the rest of the week here as well. So that's what I have for the Qs. Let's go over to the ES and the SPY. So for the ES and the SPY, super solid retest as well, right off our key level yesterday, our 6110 level, exact level that we want to see hold, breaking outside the top of the range, retest, nice continuation towards the upside. You go into the daily chart now, next levels is going to be number one. We can mark out this daily key pivot high, which is your 6170s. We can mark out this daily high here as well, and then all the way back up and towards your 6200. So for the ES coming into today, these are the levels that I have marked out. 6140, which also coincides with your previous day highs or your pre-market highs from yesterday. So you can draw this and drag it over. So coming into today here for the ES, what we like to see now is it maintain above your 6140. So you can see multiple touches in the pre-market here as well. As long as it maintains your 6140, we'd like to see this continue higher. Above your previous day highs, that's also going to be a key level as well for the overall market for the next moves and the next targets higher, which will be your 6170. As for the SPY, go back onto the daily chart. This is the next one to hit all-time highs. So most likely the SPY will gravitate towards your all-time highs today, 609.59 here. So that's going to be your all-time highs on SPY. If we go back onto the lower time frames, we can actually mark out this level as well. So for the SPY coming into today, I only have two levels here. It's going to be your previous day highs, 608.05. Next levels is going to be your 609.59 all-time highs here on SPY. So you can mark out this level. This is going to be the key pivot point coming into market open. If we maintain and if we can get above your 608, we can see this push up and towards your 609.50s, which is your all-time highs here for SPY. So those are the levels I have marked out. You can see yesterday, really nice retest of this 603. I made this level a little bit smaller, but 603 was our key pivot point. Nice touch in the market hours after that first dip, and then we end up having this nice rally towards the upside. So coming into today, what I would like to see on the overall indices, we are pushing higher here in the pre-market. So for the Qs, I just like to see now the hold of your previous day highs, 540.50 for continuation. Along with the SPY, I wanted to see above your previous day highs hold for this push up and towards your 609.50s here, all-time highs on the higher time frames. So that's what I have for the major indices along with the ES and NQ. Let's go into a few tech names that I do have coming into today. Number one, what we do have here is Tesla. So Tesla yesterday, what I wanted to see was the reaction that we have off your 355 for potential continuation. Immediate push right off the bat within the first 5 minutes, showing relative weakness compared to the overall market. This one really stayed heavy all day, whereas the QQQ, right, really Tesla and Apple, main leaders and the main tickers that were staying heavy, whereas a bunch of the semiconductors, as I'll show you, are very bullish. We looked at the SMH, very strong breakout on the higher time frame. So that's why a lot of the semis pushed higher. But as for some of the tech, Tesla, Apple lagging behind. Now as for Tesla, it's really coming back to retest the area that we broke out from, which is your 335. As for Tesla, the key levels that we do have is now just going to be your 343. So we can mark this out and drag this one over. So for Tesla, key level 343 coming into today. This is your pivot level from yesterday along with Monday here as well. So if you do want to see any sort of potential kind of mean reversion, we could be looking for a push back up and towards 348 and this 350. Besides that, I'm not too interested in trading Tesla. It is staying heavy. So if it gets back underneath this 343, you expect it to gravitate back down and towards this 337 here on the higher time frame. So for Tesla, not as much of a trend as a bunch of these other names in the overall market. Let's go on to Nvidia. So Nvidia and a bunch of these other semiconductors, we're expecting Nvidia to gravitate towards that all-time highs level. If we go on to the daily time frame, the next levels that we have is going to be this 148 and above, which is your all-time highs 153. So AMD and Nvidia. Nvidia, we're expecting a potential flat top break yesterday. You can see touch here, 146. Above your 146, we can see continuation towards the upside. Right off the bat, super solid hold of your pre-market high along with your reclaim. Once we got back above this 146, presented the best opportunity of the day for a push towards the upside. And then now you can see we actually came back to retest later into the session, right? Super solid retest on the higher time frames. Actually, you can see touch here. Once we had really strong breakout, retest, and now we slowly grinded back higher. And now we're pushing higher here in the pre-market as well. So for Nvidia, this one, the next levels that I do have is going to be your all-time highs. 153. If I'm marking out key levels coming into today, what I do have marked out is going to be your previous day highs, 147.80s. That's going to be the key level for me on Nvidia coming into today. We can mark this over and drag that one over. So really key levels for me, 148 here on Nvidia, along with our 148.90s. What I would like to see is right the hold of your 148.90s or the potential retest all the way back down in towards your 148. Most likely with this relative strength here in the pre-market, there's a good chance we probably just have continuation towards the upside, which is going to be 150 and above. So for Nvidia, if you can get any sort of pullbacks, at least right off the bat, down in towards your 148.90s, that would look solid for potential continuation higher. As for Apple, this one, just a lot of consolidation. So Apple really hasn't done too much compared to the overall market. Just by looking at this daily chart, we are building up a lot of liquidity very soon here on Apple. So I am expecting a big move soon. If we could have a news event or something along those lines or some sort of catalyst, Apple could have a pretty big move either way here. So we're building up liquidity on both sides. We'll just wait until we have a clear trend here on the higher time frames. As for Microsoft, really solid trend above your Friday's highs. Nice retest yesterday right off our 487 for continuation higher. Now we're above your previous day highs here as well. This is what happens when the market is in a nice trend. So for Microsoft, nice break, retest, and now we're continuing higher. Let's see if we can hold your 492 for the next level, which is going to be right continuation higher. As for Meta, key levels that we have in this case is your 705 break of the range. Now the next levels that we do have is going to be back up in towards your 715 and your all-time highs being your 736. So you go back onto the 1 hour chart. You can see that Meta is finally breaking outside of its range. Broke outside of this range yesterday, hold above your 703. Now we can expect right continuation towards the upside. If you go back onto the 15-minute time frame, key levels I'm going to have marked out now is going to be your previous day highs. 712 here on Meta for continuation. That's the level we like to see hold 712 for a pushback towards the upside. As for Google, little bit more consolidation on this one. Key levels, now you can just mark out your previous day highs and your previous day lows. As for Amazon, Amazon lagging behind as well, just a little bit higher time frame, still looks fairly bullish. What we like to see now is really the reclaim back above our 214 reclaim. We can see a push back up and towards your 218 here on the higher time frames. So for Amazon, key levels intraday, previous day highs 214, reclaim above that. We can see now it's going to be your 215.50 and above here on this name. As for AMD, so AMD, I want to talk about the semiconductors here. Lately, I've been talking about the SMH, which is breaking out towards the upside. AMD and NVIDIA leading the way towards the upside, along with a bunch of the other semiconductors as well. So you can see AMD textbook higher time frame breakout. You can see starting to curl here. We had news last week right off a key technical level, and now you can see the markets are starting to curl here as well. We filled their daily gap. Next levels is going to be this 144 and above. Daily chart showing a lot of bullish price action coming to last week, right? Broke above our 128, but based above our 128. Now we're breaking out once again. You can see nice break and retest on Monday, along with yesterday as well. Once we broke above this 133, nice solid hold, and now we're continuing higher. So for AMD, nice hold of your Mondays and Fridays highs right off the bat for a nice continuation towards the upside. Now you can see we have a really strong push here. Key levels that we have marked out is your daily gap. So I have this daily gap marked out on the higher time frames. And then the next levels I have is your 142.73. So you can see daily gap marked out. Next level is 142.73. We can also mark out another level as well, which is the level that we're at currently, 140.41. So for AMD coming into today, kind of similar thesis to NVIDIA. We have a little bit of a bigger push here in the pre-market. We're about up nicely like 2 days in a row. So if you do want to see any sort of potential kind of pullback, it's going to be back down in towards our your 137.50s. We can also mark out our previous day highs here as well, 138. So if you do want to see any sort of trading opportunities, back down in towards key levels, previous day highs on both these names. As for Netflix, similar thing, just break, retest of its previous high, and we had some nice continuation. So that's what we have for Netflix, and this one's back at all-time highs here as well. So really today, let me just go over the SMH really quickly just to give us a little bit more context of exactly what I'm looking at. SMH is the semiconductor ETF. Look at this and how bullish this is on the higher time frames. What are we expecting? We're expecting a push back towards your all-time high. So if I zoom out just a little bit, you can see for SMH, kind of came back, retested key levels. Next level is going to be your all-time highs, 280. So if you go back onto the daily chart, you can see broke above, right? Relatively strong compared to the major indices. SMH semiconductors should lead towards the upside. Now the next levels that we do have is 269. We have your 275 and your all-time highs being your 281. So for SMH yesterday, we talked about the potential breakout that we have, multiple touches. Once we gapped above, we're expecting continuation higher. And now you can see SMH is having this nice push higher. So in the pre-market, yesterday, nice price action, broke above key levels, retest, continuation. Now we have a big push here in the pre-market as well. As long as you maintain above your previous day highs, your next level is going to be your 275. So that's why the semiconductors are breaking out fairly nicely, is because of the SMH with AMD and NVIDIA leading the way. Okay, yeah, if you guys have any tickers, you guys can drop them in the chat and I'll go over them. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like and sub. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Let's see. What's up, everyone? What if we break out but no retest and it continues running? There's usually some sort of retest, right? If you miss a retest on the higher time frames, there's always going to be some sort of lower time frame entry. So right? You can get in on order blocks, right? Opening ranges, right? Previous day highs and lows. Within the break and retest, there's always some sort of retest unless price just moves higher, right? There's some circumstances where you'll just have right price move in a straight line, but majority of the times it'll offer at least one retest. If it's an A plus setup, it'll offer you 2 to 3 potential entry points. Yeah, if you guys have any tickers, I can go over them now. What's up, everyone? Can we go over HUT? Also, pre-market levels more important than aftermarket levels. Would you say they're equally important? Pre-market is always going to be more important just because more volatility, right? If you look at the after hours, it rarely will stock move in the after hours. It usually always moves during the pre-market because that's usually when news comes in. That's when red folder news comes in as well. And that's when the actual indices moves as well. Good morning. What's up, everyone? BAC. Bank of America. So yeah, BAC, this one's pushing back towards the upside here as well. Key levels that we have marked out 47.46. If we go onto the weekly time frame, you can see this is close to your all-time highs level. It's about to hit your all-time highs. And we also have your 46. So if you go back onto the 15-minute time frame, key levels that I have marked out today is going to be your Monday's highs. As long as you maintain above your Monday's highs, I'd like to see this continue back towards your 73, your 47.43 and above. IWM, yeah, I'll take a look at IWM here as well. Nice hold above our 212.50. You can see nice consolidation period, right? Once we broke above, retest, and now we're having this continuation back towards your 215. So as you can see here, nice retest yesterday, and now we can expect it to continue above your previous day highs, push up and towards your 215.50 here. Hood at all-time highs. Yeah, I got an alert this morning. Hood is at all-time highs. I've been talking about Hood. This is my favorite name, and my main target was all-time highs. Personally, I think this is like $100 stock, but this is your all-time highs, 85, very key level, super nice move towards the upside. Key levels that we do have is all-time highs, and that's about it. So for Hood, I do expect some sort of reaction around this general area since this is your all-time highs. If you go on to the higher time frames, we've really had a really big move towards your highs 66 and your all-time highs 80. So in the past 2 months, Hood went from 30 all the way back up and towards your all-time highs 85. So this name, we can expect some sort of reaction around these general areas. So Hood, key levels 85, levels of support is back down in towards your 78, along with this news candle high 80 key psych level. So that's what we have marked out for Hood coming into today. Let's go into the next names that we do have. Palantir. As for red folder news as well today, we do have Jerome Powell testifying once again. I don't expect too much to happen out of that, but that is going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As for Palantir, I really like Palantir coming to this morning once we reclaimed your 142. So you can see this is our key level yesterday, 142 reclaim. We also had another retest level 140. Once we are able to reclaim back above this level, next levels is going to be back towards your all-time highs, 144.50s. So coming into today, what we do have for Palantir, you can also mark out your previous day highs. If we pull back before your all-time highs, we could be looking for the dip for a push back towards your 144.50s. If we break above our all-time highs, be a little bit more cautious about this setup, which is going to be a break above your all-time highs. I'd much rather see the pullback before we gravitate there. So that's what we have for Palantir. We can also mark out, as I mentioned, your previous day highs on this name, 143.50s. As for gold, yeah, gold pulling a little bit back, pulling back a little bit here as well. Key levels that I have drawn out was basically this trend. So this kind of trend line that we had drawn out here on gold, and now you can see we actually had a daily candle close underneath your 3347. So for gold now, next key levels, we also have marked out these lows as well. So I mentioned if we break underneath this level, we're most likely going to see these lows all the way back from Sunday of June the 8th. So you can see a little bit of reaction here on gold. Now coming into today and moving forward, we like to see the reaction off these levels 3347 along with our 3297. If we can reclaim, we could be looking for continuation back towards the upside. If we come up and reject this level, then you could be looking for the lower high for a potential push back down in towards the 3300 on the higher time frames. Yeah, as for HIMS, just a lot of consolidation. So not too much to talk about on HIMS, key levels, right? Tighter range here after its big drop. You can just mark out your previous day highs. And you could also mark out your previous day lows. For HIMS, if you can get underneath, now it's going to be your previous day lows. We can also mark out this low as well. So you have your previous day lows plus your Monday's lows marked out. If you can get underneath your 4250s, you can see a nice push lower, but as long as you maintain above that, we can expect consolidation. So as for Circle, this one's pulling back here just a little bit on the higher time frames. It's down about 15% on the day. Coin clearly showing some strength here versus Circle now. I'm sure there's some sort of news event, but as for Circle, key levels that we have marked out yesterday was our 250. So you can see right off the bat, trying to hold that 250. Once we broke underneath later into the session, we end up having a little bit of a bigger pullback on the higher time frame. So for Circle, this one now losing a little bit of momentum here on the higher time frames. What we like to see is reclaims above key levels. So I personally like to see the reclaim back above now. It's going to be this 235 if you want to see any sort of push back towards the upside here. Next levels I also have is your 248. So I'll be interested, or you should be interested if you're looking for the reclaim of your 235. Potentially you could also look for this kind of dip at high or low off 217. But really you like to see the reclaim 235. As for coin, this one's super solid push higher as well. This one looks like it's going to gravitate back towards your all-time highs as well. Key levels 368, and then your all-time highs 429. So for coin, key levels that we have is your 349, super solid daily time frame breakout, one of the best breakouts after this consolidation plus news as well. Next levels is going to be your 368. So coming into today, what I could have marked out is now just going to be your previous day highs along with this 349. So we can mark this out, drag it over. As for coin, we would like to see now the hold of your 349 for this pushback up and towards your 368 here. Yesterday, we end up having a really solid retest off of your previous day highs on this one. Let me go over some more names. Soxel. So yeah, similar thing. It's just a semiconductor ETF. I personally don't like leverage ETFs, but they are an instrument that you can use. You can see the discrepancy between these two. But Soxel, this one, breaking back towards the highs. You can see the huge discrepancy between the triple ETF versus the actual semiconductor ETF. But key levels 23, you like to see a reclaim back above that. And Q went over that one. AVGO, another semiconductor that pushed back towards highs here as well. So for the semiconductors, all-time highs on AVGO yesterday, we end up having this really nice opening drive play right off the bat, right towards our 264 all-time highs that we made a few weeks ago with earnings here as well. So now this is the level we can have marked out. All-time highs 264.70s on AVGO. As long as you maintain above these levels, I like to see it now continue back towards the upside. So that's what we have for AVGO. We also have your previous day highs as well. Apple, can you talk more about order block, higher time frame order blocks? I personally don't use order blocks on the higher time frames when I'm trading tech names because there's too many gaps on the higher time frames. There's pre-market levels where there's less volume, right? Whereas if you trade you trade NQ, you can easily mark out right down close candles and order blocks, right? This one super easy to mark out. in combination with your high that we created as well. You can see price held this, and then we end up having continuation. Another order block now is going to be your previous day highs, continuation. Whereas if you draw out the spine cues, it looks a little bit different just because we have less information and less volume as well. So let's say if I was to draw out this one down close candle, which is also your previous day highs, this is the level I'd have marked out. Coinbase, let's hope Qs goes up. XU, let's see. What's up, everyone? Do you recommend moving away from 0 days once your port can afford to take risk from weeklies? Right. So it's harder to trade when you're doing something for cheaper. So the reason why you're trading 0 days is because right now you're mentioning that it's cheaper, even though it's harder, right? It's easier to trade weeklies because you're giving yourself more time. So a lot of times when you're trading 0 days, it has nothing to do with the chart and everything to do with how the Greeks work and how time decay works and everything along those lines. So you can be right on a name, you can be right on your analysis, but lose money just because of the Greeks. So you really want to start off trading weeklies. And I would even recommend that. I would start off right trading longer term expirations, not even weeklies, because those are still volatile and you have to manage risk properly. You should be trading maybe a few weeks out just to get the hang of it. And then move over onto potentially weeklies if you have a better understanding of how options move, right? Because you're only going to give it right 10 to 20% risk. Can anyone advise IBK is the best option trading from Europe? I assume it's the best for Europe. I don't know if there's any other options besides if you're not in the US, IBKR is most likely your best bet. Yeah, Circle went over that one. Reddit curling here as well, pushing back towards the upside. Key level is going to be your 150, the area that we broke down from. Now, what we also have here as well is going to be your last week's key pivot point. So we can mark out this high, which now kind of coincides with your pre-market levels. What we like to see here on Reddit is really the break above your 146, hold for this continued push back towards the upside. Good morning, Jack's been a while, smash the like button. What's up, Papa? Yeah, didn't you mention you were on a vacation, or where'd you go again? What's up, everyone? What's your play for the day? I traveled to Europe and continue to trade TOS. Yeah, if you live in US and then you go travel, that's fine. But if your primary residence is overseas, I think IBKR is going to be your best option. Okay, let me kind of scroll down here. As for some of the watches, I'll just quickly go over what I'm looking for coming to today. As for the overall indices themselves, right, we already had a pretty big move Monday, Tuesday, yesterday after consolidating. Now for day number 3, I would like to see 609 all-time highs, or if I have it marked out correctly, yeah, 609.59 all-time highs on the SPY. What I would like to see is the break above and hold above your 608, which is going to be your previous day highs. If we pull back, that's fine as well, right? Coming to market open, then I'll be looking for right consolidation and maybe the reclaim later into the session for this push back up and towards all-time high. So either scenario works for me, right off the bat, or maybe later into the day, reclaim 608 for this push up and towards your 609. For the QQQ, what I would like to see is the reaction that we have off of your previous day high. So we can mark out this. And we also have your 539 here as well. So we have your previous day highs, 540 50s, and then we have your previous all-time highs, 539.38. Either levels I'd like to see hold for right, a push back towards the upside. So that's the key levels that I have marked out for the QQQ. At least coming to today, I'm just going to look for continuations on the semis. These ones are pushing nicely. I'll look for any sort of pullbacks that we have on NVIDIA, AMD, right? Just the major semiconductors that we do have. If you look at right TSM, MU, these ones look super solid as well. As for the other tech names, Tesla, fairly neutral. I don't really have too many plays coming to today here on Tesla. We're just going to keep an eye on your 344. Apple, similar thing, just a lot of range. So really the main tickers that are leading higher, Microsoft, a bunch of the semiconductors are leading the market towards the upside. So really those are the names that you want to be focusing on. Let's see, let's scroll down. Been on, let's see, Google, Uber, Reddit. How about if I live and try and avoid unnecessary fees? Yeah, the fees that you're going to be paying are regardless of the same things. You're going to be paying for market data. A lot, if you're talking about the actual fees, like when you're buying and selling contracts, IBKR, it's mandatory. So you're going to be paying around $1, 50 cents to $1 per contract. As for Uber, this one, nice base above your previous all-time high. So you can see all-time highs, March 24th, end up perfectly using this as a retest level, touch here. And then we end up having this nice pushback towards the upside. So Uber, nice pop yesterday as well with this big gap up. Now we can expect it to gravitate towards your new all-time highs, which is your 94. 94 here on the higher time frames. As for Uber, key levels coming into today, what we're going to have marked out previous day highs, which also coincides with our 93 if I'm not mistaken. So let me actually just get rid of this. Key levels I can have marked out is going to be this key pivot point, 92.90s. So what I would like to see coming to today is the break above, right? So far, really strong push higher. You can expect your first dip to get bought up. So key levels we can also have marked out is just going to be your low that we created from yesterday, or at least a key pivot point. And now what we like to see is to really maintain your 91.50s for a push back up in towards your high of day and above being your 92 and 94. Let's see. How do you keep support and resistance? I'm not sure what you mean. SPY all-time high, CRWV, TMC. I'll go over a few more tickers here, and then I will call it a morning. So CRWV key levels coming to today, 176.80s. We also have our 186 here as well. So for CRWV, this one, every dip has just gone bottom up. Key levels that we'd like to mark out now is just going to be your higher low key pivot points. We would like to see the hold above your 175 for this pushback up and towards your 185 and above. Okay. I have a $200 account. Prop firm, I'm afraid to take a trade. What's the good light size? If you have a, yeah, I mean, you got to think about it. If you have a prop firm account, you're not even trading with money that's yours. There's a different scenario. So when you're trading with prop firms, you're not trading with money that's yours. So if you're afraid of losing that money, you're losing the challenge fee. You're not losing the account. So most likely, if that's the case and you're afraid to take trades, you're probably even trading with money that you can't afford to lose, or you're trading to not, so you're not trading to win, you're not trading just to not lose. So it's a very hard kind of mentality, especially if you're trading prop firms, which is going to be against you just based off the rules and restrictions. So the way to trade prop firms is to, at least if you're trading, the difference between evals and like live accounts, I personally don't have the most experience, so I can't give you the best answer, but I assume when you're trading with prop firms, you're going to treat them a little bit differently than a regular account. What platform do you use to follow intraday news other than Forex Factory? Go on Twitter. That's the easiest one. Plus, a lot of people have Bloomberg terminals as well. Greeks move faster. Yes. Let's see, right now, blah, blah, blah. Screen share option chain order during that would be very helpful. Yeah, like we'll show the executions after. I think that's just counter, because you're already showing the screen. You have your, if I had the order book pulled up, plus, I think that would just be overwhelming for most. And then at that point, it's like, I might as well trade for you, right? That's funny. CRWV, Weeble, I feel like that could be very, yeah. Can you make a video about reading volume and price action? Today's video, yeah, today's video is going to be good. It's going to go over the 3 setups of the first candle rule. So I'm going to talk about the first candle rule, but the 3 different types of setups, which are the different opening ranges and which opening ranges to use in different scenarios. So that's going to be a good video. Okay, yes, I'm gonna get ready for market open here. Key levels, as I mentioned, we're just gonna mark out our previous day highs, SPY, key levels, similar thing, previous day highs. I would like to see the markets next level is going to be your all-time highs today for the SPY. Qs is above your all-time highs, so now we just like to see it maintain above your all-time highs. So for my top watches, just focus on the semiconductors for continuation or any sort of pullbacks down and towards key levels on the overall markets. Microsoft looks good, right? Meta, right? 712. All right, all these ones look fairly solid. Tesla just consolidating, so I'm not going to pay attention to this as much unless we can have a strong reclaim above your 343. Besides that, I am going to get ready for market open here. Try to change my trading approach since I know I never regret that. Thanks for all your videos I've watched every day, and when I need to answer trading questions, thanks for that. Appreciate that. But yeah, that's going to be it for me today. I'm going to get ready for market open. As always, if you guys want to join the free watch list, that's going to be below. If you guys did enjoy this, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like and sub, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow morning. All right, take care, everyone.